Hello. It is Saturday, April 11th. We're here for take 5 of Behind the Scenes with Ann Charles. And today I have my assistant here, Theo the Dinosaur, also known as Chicken Noodle, my daughter. So she's going to hang out and help me with questions. And if you have trouble hearing her, we will repeat the question. And just to have a good time with me, and we're going to drink, but I think she's going to have trouble with that mask. And we're going to drink something non-alcoholic. Don't worry. It's almost Easter after all. So let's get started. You all know how I like to take a little time to get going because we got to let everybody get in here. And it doesn't always go so well. So I've got a couple questions I'm going to ask my daughter. Oh, look it. Everybody's saying hello to you. Wave to everybody. Hello. She does not know I was going to ask these questions of her as a starter show. And she's really sweating. So as we get stuff going, if you happen to notice anyone else out there trying to find us and they're writing on my page, my other pages, and you notice that, please help them find us today. You never know with Facebook if it's going to be easy or not. So let's get rolling on a couple questions as we wait for more people to come in. And thank you all for coming today. I know it's a busy weekend, even though we're kind of stuck at home. So, Chicken Noodle. Let's start with the first one. Is there something that you dreamed of doing for a long time? And why haven't you done it?
That's hard. Going on a very scary roller coaster, I guess.
Going on a scary roller coaster, that's something you've dreamed of doing for a long time?
Yeah.
Why haven't you done it?
Because I'm very scared of very scary roller coasters.
She's very scared. But she did go on a big roller coaster with me at Cedar Point 2 years ago. It was a really big, scary one. And she did well. We just screamed a lot. She screamed because I think she was nervous about the roller coaster. I screamed because I thought, what am I doing bringing my child on this roller coaster? We're both going to die, and it's my fault. You ready for another question? Yes, let's do another question for Chicken Noodle. How close and warm is your family? Do you feel your childhood was happier than most other people's?
I'm still going through my childhood, and so far it's been great.
So far it's been great. You hear that. It is recorded. We can now submit that and have that on file for the future when we're on the talk show circuit, and you're blaming me for something that happened in your childhood. We will be replaying this over and over for Oprah and Ellen and all the others. Yeah. All right, I have one more question for Chicken Noodle. And this is important. This is all from the, again, How to Live a Good Life book. We did some last week. These are more questions, set 2. And the final question for Chicken Noodle, as we wait for everybody to join us today, is how do you feel about your relationship with your mother?
Oh, man, that's hard.
Oh, man, that's hard. She says, come on. How do you feel? It's a great relationship, Mom. I love my relationship with my mom.
Yeah, pretty much that.
I don't think she's telling the truth. Okay. So we killed a little time here. We have a decent, I don't know how many people are here because this new Facebook producer thing doesn't tell me anything besides seeing who's coming and going. So I'm not sure how many have made it. And we've been 3 minutes in, it says. So maybe we should slowly get started just to show you what we're drinking today. Because I have children on the show. A child on the show. Let's go. There it goes. Sparkling cider, so she can drink it with me. I think after last week's whiskey, we should probably take it a little bit easier today. I do have a second live interview dealio going on in about an hour after I finish this. So that's the other reason we're going non-alcoholic today. I would hate to show up on that live video totally soused. That might be bad. So we're going to start pouring. Now, I wanted her to pour, but she wouldn't do it for me. She's afraid about the mask and spilling. So we're going to pour. So those of you at home drinking, whatever you're drinking, alcoholic or non. Grab your drinks. We're going to get started here. Looks like we got a few more people. It's up to you if you want to switch your mask, sweetheart. She's got another mask. This one kind of wears on her face a little bit. I don't know. I kind of like Theo the dinosaur. Makes me feel like I'm a scientist back in time. You've got some questions coming in, it looks like. So before we go, I was going to say I hope you're all feeling okay. We had a really good reply. I think I just scratched the top of my hat. Really good reply on Facebook this week on everybody checking in, and I appreciate you guys coming in and telling me what's going on with your lives and how things are going. And I just think that right now, you know, we get kind of caught up in watching shows, and it's good every now and then just to have somewhere we can go to vent and let it all out. You don't need to vent. She does. She vents a lot. She is a teenager now, so we do some venting. So today, happy. I can never make that work right. Let's get started. Do we have some questions, Chicken Noodle?
Can the dinosaur drink?
Can the dinosaur drink? Open your mouth. She put paper in there. So she has to change masks to drink, or I'll be drinking hers. There is another, I have a comment for Chicken Noodle. I know it's supposed to be her job. I have a comment for Chicken Noodle. I am still so proud of her project for the shelter animals last year. Thank you from the animal lovers. And I'm not sure at this point who wrote that because it's not listed on my phone, but thank you. And, well, wait, that's for you. You should be saying thank you.
Thank you.
She was great. She really did awesome. And when she showed us Mr. Lucky and me that video the first time, oh my gosh, I was all, oh yeah, that's a really good video. That was really well done project. So I could only watch it once or twice because you made me cry. It was so sad. Did you see her sit up straight for just a minute? Stand up a little bit. Rescue the cat. Rescue a cat t-shirt. There it is. That is what she got from the Humane Shelter when we went there because they found out she had done the project, and all of you amazing people that donated, they were just floored, and so they had us come in and they let her pick out a shirt, and that is her shirt. So, way to go, Chicken Noodle. What's next? I don't know. Let's save some elephants. Okay, let's see. Can you read it?
Maybe. The picture in the corner of the mirror is the shorts. It's explained that Violet's picture in the mirror in the worship was to actor.
Let me help you. That's all
That's
screwed.
so shit.
I know. I'm going to read this one because it's long. The picture in the corner of the mirror. It's in a shorts, a Deadwood shorts. It explained that Violet's picture in the mirror in the workshop, it's spelled wrong, was to anchor her to it.
Can't blame me.
I don't blame you. Could that be why Lane's picture in the corner of is in the clock lady's house? Okay, so this refers to I think it was in the last in Deadwood 5 where they're in the mirror in Miss Wolf's apartment and there's Lane's picture in the corner in the mirror or up in the edge shoved in. They're asking, and I'm sorry I don't have the name here. Could that be why Lane's picture is in the corner of the clock lady's house? Because he is anchored to that mirror. Well, that is a really good guess because it does, seem similar. However, we're going to find out in book 8, it's 8, I believe, why the picture was in the mirror. So if you haven't read book 8 yet, I'm not going to ruin it for you. But if you have, then you know why the picture is in the mirror. And I'm not going to talk about book 8 a lot today, but I will say that was a trippy story to write. And keeping my mind wrapped around this happening here and this happening there was tough. Plus I had Hawk and the whole snollyguster that really kind of knocked me off my chair laughing. So, okay, anyway, let's move on to the next question.
Who takes care of Harvey's dog?
Who takes care of Harvey's dog? And that's from Joanne. Hi, Joanne. It's good to see you again. Who takes care of Harvey's dog, Red? Well, Red's old, and he sleeps a lot, for one thing. Harvey takes care of him. I don't have him on scene a lot, old Red, because he sleeps a lot. And then when he's awake, he goes and he finds body parts. So he's not really an active dog. And, you know, to be honest, I didn't expect Elvis to be such an active chicken. But Elvis is an active chicken, and Red finds body parts and is a really good sleuth dog. This one was kind of funny because I do believe it's in this book, meanwhile, where Violet has fun with Cooper about him and Red hooking up and being a duo. And I can't remember offhand the two things she calls. It's not Cagney and Lacey. That was her and Cooper. But we do have a good time with Red a little, and at Cooper's expense. And I have so much fun with Vi and Cooper, and her picking on him and him getting her back as well. So that was a lot of fun when we're out there and we're dealing. And then Hawk, of course, too, is out there. And Natalie and Violet at one point convince him that Violet can talk to dead people, which comes back to bite her in the butt, as Cooper predicted. Do we have another question?
What's Cooper's first name?
Lisa wants to know what Cooper's first name. And the answer is, did you hear that, Lisa? Did you get the answer this time? Now you know. Sorry, Lisa. You crack me up. Okay, I have another question from before that I want to take while we're waiting for more questions. Please ask away. And it doesn't have to be just book 6. I just try to be careful in case people haven't read the ones beyond yet. So Carrie Harder, I don't know if you made it today, Carrie, or not, but hi to Wendy, too. I love you guys. She's asked, what other characters push their way into my novels? She's talking about, I think it was one of the previous shows where I said that Harvey kind of pushed his way in. Yeah, well, probably the first one. And I didn't expect it. And so she's asking if there's other characters that have done that as well. And there are. Cornelius, I do believe I might have mentioned that he was not really a long-term character. He was just there to help, that book. And in the end, I liked him so much I wanted him to stay. Hawk, Detective Hawk, I don't know. Cooper needed to have some more problems. And here comes Hawk. It makes sense that they would bring in another detective. And yeah, I just loved how right out of the gate, Violet and him just butted heads. It was kind of like Cooper, only this time we didn't really want to like him or have to like him. So Detective Hawk was another one. Miss Wolf, kind of, but she does her stuff. Mr. Black certainly has come in and been in there. Eddie Mutter, I love Eddie Mutter. He's lurched me. And for those of you who took the quiz this week, which I just got out Friday. I'm trying to get this book done. I got 2 more scenes. Anyway, Eddie Mutter is Lurch from the Addams Family, and I always had a crush on Lurch growing up, so I kind of have a crush on Eddie Mutter. He makes me laugh. He makes me smile. So, Carrie, that's kind of the answer to your question. There have been several. I'm trying to think in book 6 in particular. We had Grandpappy come in, and I don't know that he'll come back again. That was kind of with the seance. Frisia, she was there more last one, but still, I do like Frisia, and she will play more roles in the future. It's just a matter of which book and what's going on. You're breathing very heavy in my ear, Theo the dinosaur.
I want to.
I'm kidding. Hey, I'm going to take a drink, and you can't. What's another question?
Random sentence. What's Doc's middle name?
What is Doc's middle name? Dane R. Nice. I remembered this. Oh, somebody asked me last week, and I remembered this week. Dane Robert Nice. So his middle name is Robert. And the reason for that is the doctor that pulled me out of the birth canal and dragged me into this world, his name was Dr. Robert Nice. He was our small town doctor growing up. Till he just passed away about, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. Right before I started, I think, or right around the time. And I always liked his last name, Nice. And he was always very nice. So when I was putting together characters, Dr. Nice always kind of appealed to me. But I didn't want doctor. So it turned out we had a realtor, Mr. Lucky, and we were in Washington looking for some real estate out where his grandfather lived in the country, and we wanted to purchase a little bit of property out there. And our realtor's name was D.R. something, Watson. I think it was Watson. He's a great guy. They called him, his nickname was Doc because it was DR. So I always liked that he was Doc Watson. And so that's kind of how DR Nice came to be. It's a mixture of the realtor's name and the doctor I grew up with in our teeny town. He was all we ever had. The other thing in regards to that whole big story there is, again, did you just put your tongue back in? She put my thing in there. D.R. Doc Watson, the realtor. He was part of the inspiration for Violet being a realtor because he would take us out in the boonies. And I thought, boy, this would be kind of, a little creepy if I was a female doing this. He was an ex-cop. So for him, it was no big deal. But in reality, a female taking someone way out in the boonies would make me nervous. But so anyway, that kind of gave me an inspiration for Violet's career and how much fun she could have going into these houses and seeing all these crazy things going on. This is a throwback to childhood. Take it out of your mouth. Toy out of your mouth. Okay, so let's see. Are there other questions, dear? I'm going to drink some of her stuff while we do this.
How did you come up with Aunt Zoe's profession?
How did I come up with Aunt Zoe's profession? Well, I wanted her, she had in my mind right out of the gate, she had a store on Main Street, Deadwood. Now there is a store there. It's a little blue building on the corner. Anyone who's been to Deadwood probably knows what I'm talking about. For a long time there was crud. I can't think of the coyote's name. Oh boy, he was like the state, mascot for a while. But anyway, I had a big sign on the top with a coyote. And I'm going to think of his name after I'm done. But anyway, it's this one-story little blue store on the corner right there in Deadwood. Right now, it's across from Holiday Inn. So I love this store. It has really neat jewelry. And it's always been like that. Since I was a kid, it's been the same type of stuff. It's not really changed ever. So I wanted, in my mind, that to kind of be Aunt Zoe's store. And since there was a lot of jewelry and it's kind of a tiny space, I thought I like the idea of her making jewelry and that kind of build up into glass. And then I have always enjoyed watching glass blowers and the whole thing that goes on with glass blowing and glass making. So I thought it'd be a really fun opportunity for me to explore that more and get to spend time researching it. At the same time, it was part of the book. So that's kind of like how a lot of this goes with writing is when you want to be an archaeologist, you write stories about archaeologists, and then you can spend all your time studying, and then you can pretend you're an archaeologist like Indiana Jones when you're not. So are you taking notes?
What?
Yeah, exactly. Crazy. So anyhow, that was kind of what started with Aunt Zoe. And then the history with Violet's line and how there was the glass makers in the past, I was building with each book. That came in as I was, developing the character and telling the stories. Next question. Oh boy.
Did you enjoy having Prudence pull Ray's tooth out?
Oh, I did. Ray is such a jerk. I love it when, he comes up and Violet expects him to just be, here he's going to chew me out again. And then he hands her, holds his hand out. And she's like, what? And then he puts a tooth in it. Oh, man, bloody tooth. I just can see that going, ooh. Being a parent, people have put some icky things in my hands in the past. So I can kind of relate what that's like. So it was fun to have Prudence do her Prudence thing with Ray because he's such a jerk. And when you write stories, you have to be a little careful. It's not the same as if I was writing, a fantasy. I could be a lot more brutal with a lot of things. But because we're contemporary, I have to keep in mind there are laws and things that you just don't go too far. But it's fun when a ghost pulls somebody's tooth out because what are you going to do? It's not Violet who did it. So all around, I did enjoy having Ray's tooth pulled out. You want me to pull your tooth out? Okay. Ask me another question if you have one. If not, I have a couple.
What color is Natalie's hair?
Natalie's hair from Barbara. Hi, Barbara. That last one was from Kimberly. Thanks for the question. Barbara, it's a brunette color. I try not to set two distinct hair colors or a lot of things. I try to keep my descriptions of people kind of more loosey-goosey because I want you to put whatever face, body, hairstyle, whatever works for you. I know there's times when I read a book that has the couple on the cover, nice, that I think this really doesn't look like what the guy looked like, what I thought he looked like. So when I was creating, with every character I create, I try to give a few bits about them, hair color, just kind of auburn, and sometimes it's darker brown. And I try to do that to keep it so you don't feel like you're stuck, with a person looking exactly like a certain way. Do you have another question for me, Dinosaur?
Was it always your plan to have Jane's ghost come back? Can I change my mask?
She's going to change her face. Ooh, that sounds creepy. Christina Wynn. Hi, Christina. Was it always your plan to have Jane's ghost come back? I didn't want to kill Jane. It made me sad to kill her, but she had to be sacrificed for the good of the story and the series. That sounds weird. So I was sad to kill her because she was a great person. She gave Violet a chance. However, you keep making me laugh. I didn't write her off because there's ghosts in this story. I knew when I killed her that she could come back, and I just felt like there was going to be a time when she would come back. She's such a strong personality when she was living that I can't see her just fading away. So yeah, I in the back of my mind, Jane wasn't fully gone. It was just a matter of time when she would return and play another role in the story. And I will hint that Jane's back again in book 11. So for those of you who like Jane and like her ghost, she's still hanging in here. She's a lot of fun. Do you have another question for me? What is your now she's kitty cat? I don't know. Kitty cat. What?
Is Hawk going to leave? I can't stand him.
Is Detective Hawk from Gail Mathers. Hi, Gail. Is Hawk going to leave? Gail can't stand him. He's a real jerk. He takes a little break over Christmas, so you get a small break from him. Will he leave entirely? I don't know. He tends to be a real blowhard, and he's a real kiss ass with the, you didn't hear that, kiss butt with the chief of police. So it's not easy for him to go. Now, one way he could go, maybe we should sacrifice him to one of the others, huh?
What?
Ooh, I'm kidding.
I don't know.
Maybe.
You're right.
Yeah, she hasn't read anything yet. The only thing she has listened to is Wild Turkey Tango, right? Yes, she's listened to the Wild Turkey Tango. That's it. The rest of them, she has to wait a few more years. Yeah,
I like my dinosaur mask better.
She's okay. So anyway, do we have another question? So Gail, there's more to come for Hawk. He'll pay his dues. Don't you worry.
Is Cornelius going to hook up with Rosie?
That's from, hey, Lisa. That's a good question. I don't know that anyone's asked me that. Is Cornelius going to hook up with Rosie? He does tend to, surprisingly, even though Frege is out there looking gorgeous like Halle Berry, he is drawn to Rosie a lot because Rosie speaks his language, if you will. She knows paranormal. She knows all his gadgets. She's much more his same likes and dislikes. So they do have a lot in common. So we'll have to see what happens with Rosie. And on that note, I will talk a little bit about a little side note here. Rosie, she was another one, Carrie, you asked about this, that she came in and I didn't really expect her to stay, but I really liked Rosie, and so she has bought a house now. She bought Cooper's house, and she's still in I don't know if she did in book 6, but she's in the process. So she did stay, and there will be more of Rosie. But here's my problem with Rosie, and First Draft crew could probably tell you this as well, because I've screwed this up. When I first came up with Rosie, her name was Susie. I don't know why, but I wanted Susie. So I started with that. But then for some reason, and that escapes me as well right now, I changed it to Rosie. I think it was because of Rosie the Riveter, and I like the idea, and Rosie in the story is so strong because she's carrying big cameras and lugging all this equipment. So I liked her being like Rosie the Riveter. And so then I started screwing up calling Susie on the page Rosie. So at the end of the book, I changed it to Rosie because I was like, now maybe you won't screw it up every time. But I will tell you that in the current book I'm writing, I mention Rosie again, but of course I write Susie now. So I cannot keep that woman's name straight. She should be like Rosie Susie or Susie Rosie, and that's her name, because then I at least cover both bases. What do you think? Yes? Bye. Okay, ask me another question.
We don't have enough.
Yes, we do. I'm seeing stuff come in. So, okay, good. In the meantime, before you get to another one coming in, I would like to take another question that came to me earlier from Michelle Davis. Hello, Michelle. And Michelle is very good at asking me super hard questions, especially while I'm on the air. So this is another one of hers. Why did George Mutter want to buy the hotel? And I'm not sure that we ever really find out that detail. I think that part of it in what we will find out, but I don't want to say too much because then it locks me down into something. And later, if I, whatever comes out of the page, you'll go, whoa, wait a second, Ann, you said blah, blah, blah. But at that point in the story, George is buying the hotel because Ray is encouraging him, because Ray wants Violet to lose the deal, because if Violet loses the deal, then she gets fired. So Ray knows George has a chunk of money he's earned from what? I think it's a little sly business on the side he's doing with the others. But George has a chunk of change and he can afford to buy the hotel and take the sale away from Violet, and that will get rid of Violet. And Ray is so bent on Violet getting fired that he will do just about anything to get rid of her at this point. He's unnaturally attached to getting her fired. And I think it has something to do with book 3 toward the end when Violet goes into the basement of Mutter Brothers and he's laying on the table and she sees his you know what. So I think he's really kind of upset that she saw that. Sorry. And that's part of the reason he's so doing anything he can to get rid of Violet. So Michelle, that's as much as I'm giving you at this point. Stay tuned. More to come. So let's see if there is another question. Here we go. If not, I've got some others.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
Diane Nealon. Hi, Diane. At one time, I thought Hawk may be one of the others. He's certainly as much of a jerk as some of the others are to her. But no, Hawk is just 98% ego and then 2% doofus. But he's a little chihuahua kind of, that whole bite into you and won't let go. He's so determined to get to make Violet guilty of one of the crimes at least, because now, like Ray, he's irritated with her. She has insulted his ego. She broke his pen. She does all kinds of stuff to him. And so he would like to see Violet get thrown into prison and be done with her. So he's going to sit there like I say chihuahua. Some people would say pit bull, but I think of it more of a chihuahua for some reason. He's going to do everything he can to try to get her, pin something to her. Unfortunately, there are things that she's tied into, but now at this point in the series is where Cooper is starting to shift because he knows more of what's going on. It was at the end of 5, I believe, that Doc and Vi had the meeting with him at the Purple Door, telling Cooper the whole what's going on behind the scenes. And so this is the next book, and he's been digesting it. He doesn't fully accept it, but he's, trying to get a handle on what's really going on. He believes in Doc. He believes what Doc says, not necessarily Violet, but he does believe Doc. So we're seeing the shift in this book from Cooper being the one always coming at her to more Cooper kind of watching her back, but still, chewing on her. Hope. Hi, Hope. Haven't seen you in a while. Why is Mona always typing? What is she really up to? Oh, Mona is very busy. She is typing. And she really is doing something. And I am going to share what she's doing. It's not in book 11, but it's coming soon. So you will find out why she is typing so much. Was that good for you too? That's a good question, Hope. And I would love to answer it, but you're going to have to send me a check with, I'm kidding. I'm not going to tell you yet, but stay tuned because it's going to come out what she's really up to. You have another question there, T-Rex?
I'm not sure yet. Do we have a close release date of number 11?
That's from Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca. Thank you for the question. I don't have an official set date. I have 2 scenes to write. So it's about 1 chapter. And then it will be shipping. I'll be shipping it off to my editor, Ms. Flynn, and she will have it. I'm hoping this by the end of this next week. That's the goal, which means I go dark for a bit here because I've got to really go through the whole book again and do my editing. So if all goes well and my editor is able to go through it in her usual time frame, we will have a beta run going on for the beta team early May, I hope, and then releasing the book mid to late May. So it will be out in May, and I will be putting a pre-order button up. The cover is done. I love it. It's so cool. Mr. Lucky and my brother, C.S. Kunkel, did a really amazing job this time. Well, they always do an amazing job, but I love it. It's a really cool cover, and I think you're going to like it. And the cover is a little bit of a shift because, we did the first 10 books. Now we're moving into the next group of 10. The series is shifting. And so we're changing the covers just a little bit. Now this next group will look similar, but they look different than the first. Just some. Purple Boots are still there, of course. But we're going to have a slight change. So stay tuned. I'm hoping to have the pre-order button up within 2 weeks. Fingers crossed. But to do that, I have to have a date. So that depends on, I got to talk to my editor. We got to just line it all up. So it will be in May, though. I will do everything I can to have that thing out in May to you guys because there's a lot of fun. There's so much fun going on in this one. Boom. It's just explosive. And so far, the first crew is really giving me thumbs up, which is always awesome. I appreciate that from those guys. So thank you for that question. Another question?
How long were Doc and Tiffany together?
How long? And that's from Debbie. Thank you, Debbie. How long were Doc and Tiffany together? The whole Doc and Tiffany thing, that sets in my craw about the same as it does Violet. Explain that. I don't understand why, but I have this jealousy thing, the same as Violet. And I think it's because Tiffany is so dang perfect looking. She's just all this, everything's just right, perky and all that good stuff. And the same way Violet feels when I'm writing those scenes where she's thinking about Tiffany and all that kind of stuff. I think that's a lot of me thinking that same thing. So I don't like the fact that they were together. And I thought many times if I could go back and change him being with Tiffany, would I? But, I think it's important the way that history went for them because it makes the story and the series so much better now. The length of time they were together was very short in my mind. And I don't know that I've ever set a definite time frame, but I think it was from start to finish, it went through it's just like a 3-week thing, maybe 4 max. And then he was like, this woman is nuts. I'm out of here. So it was a moment of weakness for Doc. He didn't know Violet was going to be coming into the picture and just went with it as he has in the past when anything like this has come about. and now regrets it, as do I. But I think that's about the length of time. But it was enough for Crazy Tiffany, to get attached and mention marriage, which really made Doc freak out a little bit and get out of there. Do we have another question there? She's playing with you can't see it. There we go. You are cool. She's cool. All right. I'm doing your job here, Dinosaur. Read the last one.
That's not it. Will we find out more about the child in the clown suit? Okay, that's creepy.
That is creepy. That's from Vicky. Hi, Vicky. Will we find out more about the child in the clown suit? We will. It is creepy, and it's going to get creepier. That was a real dark part in the Hessler history, and we will find out much more about that child as time goes on. I will tell you, Book 11, you can't have this. I'm going to drink yours too. In Book 11, we have to catch a Lighterk. So that is the main thing. Now, there's a lot of other things going on around that, but the theme of the story is how to catch a Lighterk. I can't even say it right. Liederk, I think is how Carolyn says it in the audio. How to catch it. Let's call it the Hungarian Devil. How to catch the Hungarian Devil, because it is made of shadow and smoke, and in the past Violet hasn't had much luck with it. So she has to figure out, because time has run out and Aunt Zoe's on the line. So Dominic's being pushy like he always is, and it's time for us to catch this devil, which is why Devil Days in Deadwood. It's actually evil when we add the D on the front. So that is the reason for the title, is the Hungarian Devil, and the Charming Devil, that is Dominic. So stay tuned for more on that creepy kid. I think you got another question there, Dinosaur. A dinosaur reading my phone. Can you read that?
Yeah, your daughter is the best.
Your daughter is the best. Aw, let me kiss your nose. She's so cute with her big nose and her sharp teeth. Okay. Thank you, Rebecca. She is fun. We have a good time together. Even though she says, how do you feel about your mom? Right? Keep going. Anything else? If not, I want to read one of these.
Read one of these.
I'm going to read one of these while you guys come up with some more questions. This is the Deadwood quiz. I always like those graphs. Those graphs are exciting. I don't know why, but they're fun to look at. So I was going to go through a couple of these questions with you guys in the air. If you haven't taken the quiz, it's out there on my Ann Charles website. If you go to the blog and you look up, I think it's under the Deadwood quizzes. It might be right at the top, but it's in there, and I'm listing all the quizzes. So if you haven't gone back and taken the first one or two, you can always go back and take them. And as I've said before, you can go through and answer the opposite so that you can read the other feedback answers. What we do is Diane, the amazing Diane Garland, comes up with these questions for me. She's my story world keeper. And then I go do the quiz myself, and sometimes I miss one. Sometimes they're really hard. Diane's a tough teacher. She used to be a teacher. Anyway, so she asks the questions, and then I go through and I spend some time writing, if it's incorrect, I write, sorry. But then I do some different things I talk about with each one, whether it's right or wrong. So I try to make it fun, because I don't want you to feel like if you miss a bunch, you're, I missed a bunch. I don't care about that. Go back and take it again once you know the answers and see what I wrote for the correct answers, because that's a lot of fun too. And I try to tell you little bits about the book, about characters, about me, unfortunately. So we'll go through a couple of these while we're waiting. Keep your eye on that, dear, and see if we have any more questions. What happens when when Prudence speaks to him? And we talked about this a little. He pulls out his own tooth and gives it to Violet. I wonder, has anyone ever had that happen? You can't just put a tooth back in, can you? I mean, I guess they might use it to put a post in, and I've often wondered how that turned out. And even more, I've offered what the cost of fixing that is. Do you have a question for me?
It's a little too long for a dinosaur.
Okay, let's see. It's a little too long for a dinosaur. Matt, thank you, Matt, for writing. I would love to see a Violet Parker Netflix series. Have you pitched the idea? Have any interest? Been approached about it? I I've been approached about this series a couple years ago, and I went with an IP attorney. I talked to an IP attorney I've used in the past, and he kind of warned me to hold off a little bit. And I went with my gut too, which said wait, because watching, and I've talked about this to some folks, watching Game of Thrones and the author who wrote that, the show quickly got ahead of him. Well, not quickly, but it got ahead of him. And then there was intense pressure for him to hurry up and finish. So at the time when I was approached, it was, I think I had book 7 out, maybe. It might have been this one. And I thought, you know what, I need to get a lot more of the story out before I even start thinking about pitching, because otherwise, I believe what happened, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, is the story writers for the movie, for the show on HBO for Game of Thrones, they went ahead of him. And maybe he consulted with them, but they wrote, the story, whatever, and he went then later. And I don't like that idea. I want me to have the story going and that to come after if it were to happen. I would love to someday see it on Netflix or, HBO. Sci-Fi Channel even does a good job. And I'm kind of holding out that maybe in time, once I get to where I feel like let's do this now, then I'm going to study up on some, screenplay, and I'm going to study up on that market, because that market is a whole new thing for me. I do a lot of different things as an entrepreneur, and I know about print, I know about publishing, I know about copyright, I know about a lot of this stuff, but I don't know about that industry. And you can't go into it being ignorant. It'll bite you in the butt. So, Matt, someday I would like to do it. Hopefully it's not too late by then, and hopefully we just have a wealth of story that they can use when the time comes. But I also worry that they screw it up, because there have been shows where they don't do as good of a job as the book, and it kind of flops. And then how do you bring a book series back out of the gutter after it's flopped as a TV series? I don't know. I'm probably putting too much thought into this, but maybe in another couple years, I will pursue that with more gung-ho when I feel like we're ready to try this. But it's a great question, so thank you for asking, Matt. It would be a lot of fun to see that, although I think it might make me go totally wacko. It's bad enough when Carolyn reads my books and I listen, or Lisa reads my other ones. When you listen to something you've written coming from someone else, it's very, it's a little cringy almost, and it takes a bit to get used to. I have to wonder what that's like to see it. It's like, what was in your mind out there? I'm going to totally lose it then. And then she and I will be doing this whole show on like Dr. Phil. And she'll be telling Dr. Phil how this is when my mom went nuts, and this is the kind of stuff she does now, and she paints these weird things on the walls, right? Stuff like that, maybe. Such a good dinosaur. Okay, let's do the next one. Oh, Becky Binder. Thank you, Tootsie the Coyote. That's who it was. Yes. Thank you, Becky. On the blue building in Deadwood, on the corner, used to be a big board above. It was Tootsie the Coyote, and Tootsie was kind of the mascot for South Dakota for a long time. And there's much more to Tootsie's story. If you want to know more, I'm not going to tell it to you right now because I'll screw it up. And then I'll have many of my wonderful Deadwood friends reaching out through my computer and whacking me upside the head. So look up Tootsie the Coyote in South Dakota, and you can read all about that. But that was what was on top of the blue building. Thank you, Becky. Don't eat my phone, please. Crazy. Let's see. Kimberly, I love the titles you come up with. Thank you, Kimberly. We have a lot of fun. And by we, it's been different people over the years, so it's not me and myself, kind of crazy. I've had help from many folks, my husband, my friend Jackie Rogers, other friends. It's just, every time I go to start a book, I actually have to come up with a title before I write the story, and I think some of you may know that. But I cannot I need to know that title before I start, or it drives me nuts. I can't really write the book without the title. And the title plays always into the story somehow, so it's kind of like part of the theme and an element of it. But I'm glad you appreciate it. I once did a talk at her class. You remember that? 5th grade? And I had a kid ask me why, I think it was your class, why I do that with the letters if I have trouble spelling or what. So that made me laugh. It's like the kid thought like the teacher would come along and fix my books for me. It's funny. Do I have another question, Mrs. Dinosaur? I wish you could drink with me. It's really good. I think I'll drink yours and mine. Okay, what do you do? What's on the question? Yes. Are you going to read it?
Will
Read.
And Zoe finally get back together.
Hi, Kelly. Thank you for the question. Will Reed and Zoe finally get back together? Well, I am a romantic, so I think they will. But I don't think Aunt Zoe's going to make it easy for Reed. Because, boy, she was, if you read, it's coming to me, hold on, Cold Flame, then you will read what happened and how she pretty much just gave him her heart. She was like, yeah, whatever, and she waited and waited and waited for him, and he just couldn't get it together enough to say, yeah, let's be together for a long time, let's get married, whatever. He wouldn't do it. He struggled because of his divorce. And so she finally realized, this is a train wreck, I can't keep doing this, I'm out, and I don't want to open that again, which is where, comes into with this series. And I love Reed. I think he's wonderful. I'm still kind of mad at him for doing that to Aunt Zoe way back then. But I think that in time he will wear her down, and probably with Violet's help, because Violet likes Reed a lot and she wants him to make it work with her Aunt Zoe. But we shall see. It won't come it's not going to be a quick, all of a sudden it's done. Aunt Zoe's got a little bit of a long memory that goes on here and holds a grudge. So she's got to make him pay just a little bit. Sorry, not to be mean to guys or girls who have done that, but there's got to be some payment for hurting her so much. Do you like that? Is my shoulder tasting good? Don't you wish you could drink with me, Dinosaur? This sparkling cider is amazing. Get yours today. Too bad the dinosaur can't have it. Okay, let's see, another one. Joella, hi Joella. Will there be a crossover with Violet and Quint working together? For those of you who aren't aware, Quint is Violet's brother. He is in the stories here and there in the Deadwood series. He also has his own series, the Dig Site Mystery series. And we're still trying to catch Violet up to Quint's storyline. If you look at a big storyline of all the different series, Quint's is a little bit ahead of where Violet is. So someday, when I'm old and gray, and people go back and they'll go, oh, well, she was layering them like this. No, I was put this one here and then here, and now I got to catch this one up. Same thing happened kind of with Jackrabbit and Deadwood in the early days. Anyway, we are almost caught up to Look What the Wind Blew In, that time frame. We're getting there. A couple more books, because Violet's books go slower. I try to make them move faster, but they take the time on the page, calendar-wise, that they take. So eventually, yes, there will be things going on because, they are meant to work together, I think. But when that will be, I do not know. There's a lot to fix. There's a lot to fix in Deadwood first. You have another question for me. Thank you, Joel, for that question. This is from Barbara.
I'm not going to read that.
After hanging out with Violet, it's too much for the poor dinosaur to do. After hanging out with Violet, let me read this again. After hanging out with Violet so much, Coop starts to see ghosts. Will Harvey or Natalie start seeing or having some kind of abilities? Da-da-da. You need to read book 11. It gets exciting. We're having fun. So stay tuned, Barbara, for your answer to that question, or part of it. I think it's going to be a fun mix as we keep going forward. So I'm not going to answer that because I'm not going to give that away. But like I said, You're going to want to check out book 11 when it's ready. Let's see. I do have a winner. We need to announce a winner for the cool keychain that Michelle and Mark Davis were nice enough to create. They make these awesome prizes. If you're on the Purple Door Saloon, you might recognize their names because they do contests all the time on there, giving away really fun prizes that have some of C.S. Kunkel's images on them, sometimes the covers, and different fun things. Those two are awesome. So thank you to them. And the winner of the keychain, sorry, my brain, the winner of the keychain is, do a drum roll. Not with your fingers, you're supposed to go. That sounds like I'm drinking. Gwen Mueller. Gwen, yay! You won the keychain. That's so cool. Gwen, if you want to private Facebook message me your mailing address, physical mailing address, I will send that on to Michelle and Mark, and they will mail that out to you so that you get a really cool, fun keychain. And thank you for coming today, Gwen, and playing along. And thank you to all of you for playing along. Let's see, we got a couple more questions, and then it might be time to wrap it up for this week. Are you going to come back next week? What?
That last question, she said she feels sorry for me.
All right, on my third beer. Yay, Becky. Hi, Becky and Lowell. On my third beer. You're not drinking alone. Yay. Well, it's cider, but like I said, we can't get drinking like that when I have an interview coming. Let's interview Ann Charles. She's a lush. She's great to have on the air. Who knows what she's going to do. You can't drink it. It's too bad. I'm going to drink this all before we go off the air, and then she won't have any. And that'll just all be for me. Won't that make her sad? Poor dinosaur. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Let's see. Christina, could Cornelius ever get his own spin-off series? I would love to read more about him. Sam Lucky, I'm up for that. All right. I know Sam Lucky loves Cornelius, too. It's one of his favorite characters. I do, too. Cornelius is such a blast. He's so random. The things I learn as an author writing scenes Cornelius is in, it's crazy what I've learned. Will he ever get his own spin-off? I don't know. Do you think we should do that? Yeah, I know. She's creepy. Maybe someday, maybe someone else would write that series while I keep working on the big series. What do you think? You want to write that series? Someday it would be a lot of fun. And maybe what we could do, what would be really cool, is to do a book of shorts and then have different characters like Cornelius and Harvey or others and just have little vignettes from their life. You know, maybe one of the creepy things Cornelius has been involved with, that we watch what happens to him or something along that lines. Oh yeah, we were supposed to hold that up. Hold that up so people can see. Not like that. So that's a really good question, Christina, and we'll see. The biggest thing is time. Lucky for everybody, you know, knock on wood. I was thinking this last week about a lot of some of my friends are retiring, author friends, and I was thinking about that, and then I realized, holy crap, I have like 25 more years till I can retire. So we got a lot of stories yet that I can tell. If I retire, I mean, I think if you retire, you kind of go nuts after a bit if you've been writing it this long. I might start having all those people come, you know, real in my life. She's busy reading the book. So I'll read the next question. Sarah, hi Sarah. Could there be a showdown with Reed and Masterson that could change her heart? Oh, wouldn't that be awesome? Reed something. Oh, that would be so cool because, you know, Reed does, his heart is on the line where Masterson is all about, he just wants Zoe because she would make an excellent partner. No, stop biting my fingers. You know, I don't like it when you bite my fingers. So there's a really good possibility something like that could happen or not. I can't guarantee it because then you'll read it and go, you know, I knew this was going to happen. Now Anne's getting boring. I can predict her. She's getting predictable. Natasha, hi Natasha. Just keep Carolyn Schaefer doing the audio on the Deadwood series because she brings the characters to life. I will, as long as she's willing to do it. We'll stay with her. I don't want to change because I think that would be really weird to all of a sudden have Carolyn no longer reading Violet, you know, in this series. So I really try to stick with one narrator as much as I can, and the same goes with the other series with Lisa. I like to stay with Lisa because I don't want to change out. I think it causes, as if you're listening to them one after the other, that would take a little bit to get past the fact that it's a different voice. So as long as Carolyn's willing to keep reading, I'm going to keep going. We'll see how long, who outlasts the other, huh? Lisa, what is Wilda's twin name? Wilma, she asked. Did I ever say that? I'm going through my brain, and I'm not going to put you through that. Don't bite the book. Don't eat the book. I need that. Wilma, I don't think so. I don't know if I've mentioned the twins' name yet, and I'd have to go through my notes. Oh, man. You know what I was going to do? I'll do it next time. I was going to have some of my old notes from Meanwhile when I wrote it for this one, and I've totally spaced that. I blame the dinosaur. I blame the fact that I'm trying to get a book done. So my brain, when I'm not here, I'm on the page trying to get Deadwood 11 done. So I'll try to remember next week to bring my big fat notebook that has Deadwood number 7 behind the scenes notes that I did. And we'll do that. You look like you're drinking now, but you're not. So other questions. Let's see. Joanne, how did Harvey know Masterson as a kid? You know, Joanne, I know you've read the Undertaker series. So I want you to think about the fact that Masterson is in that series, and Masterson is in this series, and in one of the books, Harvey says something about Masterson as a kid, and the dad went off and disappeared, and then Masterson was there, and now he's, an adult again. I'm not going to tell you the answer to that. There's a little bit of a twist there, and it's kind of weird. So think about that, Joanne, and keep paying attention, as I know you will, because you're awesome like that. But there is a way that Dominic has been doing this, just so you know, because he's out in the public. So people would kind of go, isn't it funny that Dominic Masterson is not aging? So he has to do things a little differently so that he can keep looking like it's not, stop, it's not, he's not some kind of weird whatever he is, which I'm not going to say what he is. So that's my answer to you, Joanne. It's not a very good answer, but you can ask me all kinds of questions on the side, and if you hit the right one, I'll tell you. But I'm not going to give that away. And Gail, I just saw your question pop up, so it might be coming. I know Masterson is another, very old, but what is he? He never ages, so charming, and he can influence the minds of others. It's his job. That's where you need to, Gail, I'm not sure if you've read the Undertaker series, but Dominic is in that one as well, and you learn more about him as we go. He is a charming devil, and that's as much as I'm really going to tell you at this point, because I don't want to ruin what's coming out far out in the series. But that's a good question. What else? My brother is here. Hi, Chuck. Your uncle's here. We call him Uncle Bobo. Hi, my brother's here. Hello to Chuck from everybody. He's the one doing the illustrations. Thanks for popping in. I know you're busy with your Kunkel Zoo down there in the valley, so it's good to have you on here. And I don't know. If anyone has questions for Chuck, you can ask me, and I can talk about him in the next show. He does his drawing by pencil, I can tell you that. He's old school, and colored pencil and ink. So it's really cool to watch him come up with, we talk about the designs, we'll talk about the cover, we'll, kind of do what pose we want. A lot of times he uses a picture of his wife or one of his kids to kind of model it off of, and we go from there. So he's really awesome, and it's fun to get to work with my brother, and I like to tell, on him to my mom. I'm kidding, I don't do that, but we do have a good time. So hello, and I don't know if you're still here, but I'll talk to you more later. Do we have any other questions? We're almost to the end of the show, and poor Dinosaur here has not been able to drink hardly any of her sparkling cider, so I'll just drink a little bit more while she's so thirsty. Oh, that's really good sparkling cider. Too bad it's going to be gone by the time we finish. Oh no. She's going to take it in her room. Okay, let me see. I don't know if we have any other questions. I was going to maybe do one more from here and then we'll wrap it up. If I didn't answer your question, if you didn't get a chance to get it in time. Boy, that didn't sound nice. Write me and I will add it. I'm going to keep notes and I'll write it on next week's and I'll have my notes like I did my fancy notes here. And I will include it for next week, okay? So let's do one more question. How is your relationship with your mother?
You asked that.
Oh, I asked that already. Oh, let's see. The white grizzly. We had the white grizzly. Oh, one of the questions I asked behind the scenes that I wanted is, does anybody remember what the white grizzly, what Mr. Black calls the white grizzly? He doesn't say white grizzly. I can't even remember what Violet calls it at first. But we also, as a side note, if you read the very first Deadwood Undertaker series book, which is called Life of the Coffin Joint, Boone and Rabbit have to face off with a white grizzly of their own. So again, the two series are tied. There's similar creatures. There's similar others. Some are the same, just different times because they don't live normal human lives. So I really recommend, if you love the paranormal elements, give the Undertaker series a try because you're going to learn a lot more of what's been going on in Deadwood all along behind the scenes, and what Violet's, kind of gives you more about what's to come. So is there anything else you would like to add? No, Dinosaur? Yes, you. Anything else? No. All right. Well, I'm going to let you go. I got to prepare for the next talk and get my brain online, and I will let you know for those of you interested in seeing the next interview. I don't know what they're going to ask me. We'll see. Thank you for coming. Like I said before, if I didn't get your question answered, I'll answer it next week, and I hope you'll join me again next weekend. Maybe the dinosaur will be here. Maybe not. We'll see. And I hope you have a wonderful Easter and stay safe and FaceTime if you can with your family and do what you need to do to keep our spirits up. Keep going. All right. I'll see you later. Thank you for coming, everybody. I'm trying.